What's up, guys? Welcome to Cars and Cash. I'm Garrett Williamson. We're here at Aston Martin today to spec out a DB12. You ever wondered, what it's like looking at the real life thing when you're going through a customization tool online, or you're trying to figure out how to best afford your dream car without breaking the bank and being in a good financial place at the same time? That's what we're here today to talk about and find out. If you like what we're talking about, please consider subscribing, liking the video, so we can keep doing more of these and bringing you more great content. That being said, let's head inside. All right, guys, we're at the customization wall here where we're able to pick out what spec we like and what the different options are out there. Not all of these are standard options, so keep that in mind when you're speccing your DB12. We got the black, piano black as the base trim. We also have a variety of different leathers that we can choose from on the base. And of course, we have a variety of color choices, but some of these choices are Q level and some of them are just additional costs in your specs. So, this is a good way to kind of see the different options without having to use the configurator. That's why we're here. We have the different carbon fibers available along with the wood trims and your standard piano black there. With the DB12, you can also do customizations. These are, of course, DB11 elements, but the DB12 has its own package there, which we'll show and get into as well when going through those. There's 4 environments that Aston Martin lets you choose from, which are the Create environment, which comes with the base car at $245,000, and then we have the Inspire environment, which adds some leather options, gives you some additional seat options, and the Inspire Sport option, which gives you the sport seats in a premium leather package, which those are my favorite seats out there. In addition, there is the Sport package itself, or the Accelerate package, and there you can get additional carbon fiber pieces and the additional sport seats for that cost. So we'll keep that in mind and move forward to the car. All right, guys, we got a great combination here. We have the xenon gray exterior paint, just sparkling. I love this color. It's just captures your eyes so well, as not all grays can and not all silvers can. So I think this is a fantastic color, mixed with a very classic, timeless combination of the bison gray, bison brown, the phantom gray, and a wood grain interior. So we'll feature that in the car. You'll see that in the car in a minute, but wow, I think this is a great combination of colors when you're speccing yours. Consider very classic colors for making sure that your car does not depreciate like others might in the space. So that's part of what we're doing today, is making sure that the specs that we have are very classic specs. They'll be very desirable, not only for you, but then also if you ever decide to sell your vehicle. That way you can find a buyer quickly and not have a bunch of depreciation happen on your car compared to other people's cars. So this is a great combination. Gray on a brown and a charcoal with wood, just beautiful. So with that, let's go check out the car itself and see what all of that is like put together. All right, guys, check this out. This is the DB12 in the xenon gray paint. I just think it looks incredible. We have a lot of carbon fiber options on this. So the base price is $245. This spec here, $338. So jumped up a good chunk in price, but what are you getting for that? There's a lot of different options on this. We're going to run through that in just a second. But if we just take a look at this from a higher, or from a distance here, wow, that is hitting great, even in gray skies. Looks awesome. I can see some potentially like green spec in there as well. And with this, we also have carbon fiber brakes on there as well. You got the carbon ceramic brakes, the carbon fiber side strakes, the carbon fiber lower package, the carbon fiber streaks here, and then the black roof, which are all options. So normally on that base price, you're getting the base color, or you're getting the color paint on the roof, and then the black side streaks there, no trim and steel brakes, along with black gloss trim on some of these other options. And of course we got carbon on the side cap. But I think it's just awesome. Obviously, this has been talked about in the past, but now we have presenting door handles on the car, and we have the mirrors that do not have the surround. So wonderful, wonderful package. Including in this is the Bowers & Wilkins audio system. So we'll show that in just a minute. there are a few additional costs that you need to consider other than the base price. The first are your purchasing costs. There's sales taxes, registration fees, document filing fees, destination fees, advertising fees, and dealer markups that we have to worry about. So knowing that total price will be important and something that you can talk to your Aston Martin representative about before purchasing your vehicles. Of course, we also have running costs such as gas, insurance, maintenance, car care, and if you hold it for a while, you might have tires and brakes that you have to replace. If we're comparing our car to the base price, the spec price here is $334,000 versus the $245,000 car. So that is a $90,000 difference adding those options, and you want to be in a good financial place when getting those additional spec'ing options. So first off, you can pay for the car in a couple ways. One is by using your income. So if you were to get the base car, comparing monthly payment wise, you'd have a monthly payment of around $3,700 if you were doing a 7-year loan and that was and you were paying 7% interest on that loan. So right around $3,700. Additionally, for this spec in particular, you'd be, for that same loan, paying around $5,000. So you're adding about $1,300 per month on those monthly payments, which over time add up. Every year, you're going to pay about $44,000 for the base car in monthly payments and $61,000 on the car that we have here in monthly payments. So what do you need to know when paying for that? Well, first off, you got to make sure that your income is in the right place. It's a really good idea to have less than 50% of your income being taken up by your bills. That means taxes, that means your mortgage, that means your utilities, that means anything that you are paying for consistently every month. That does not include groceries. I would not include anything like that that's variable. You can control those. I'm talking fixed monthly payments. Keep those under 50% of your income. So if we assume that our tax rate is 25% effective, then we know that a base car, a good income to be at would be around $590,000, probably $600,000, really, but right around there, it's not going to make a huge difference, obviously. For the spec that we have here, you want to be $800,000 or more in income to make sure that this payment is aligned with the 10% rule. 10% is a good amount for a car payment after your taxes are paid, because that gives you plenty of room for putting your money toward your mortgage, your savings, your lifestyle, all of those other things that you might consider. So, of course you could go 10% off your gross income, but that affects obviously any other savings and everything else that you're doing. So just keep that in mind. Obviously everything is going to be totally dependent for you specifically. So if you're trying to figure that out, feel free to contact me. My link's below to talk through that, or talk to your financial advisor if you already have one and have a good relationship. But that's some good numbers to think about if you're planning on purchasing this car. So the total interest that you pay between the base car or our spec here, if you got that same 7-year loan at 7-year interest, obviously you're going to pay more interest for buying a more expensive vehicle. So $66,000 for the interest on the base car and about $90,000 for our spec here. So obviously that adds to the total cost of the car. You of course have depreciation that you have to think about as well. So a lot of people might think, well, if I have money to buy this car straight up, why wouldn't I just pay cash? Well, you definitely can pay cash, but it all depends on your opportunity costs. So if you're going to pay cash, a good ratio for paying cash is to only use 10% or less of your portfolio. So for the DB12 here, having a $2.5 million portfolio is a smart idea for the base car, or a $3.3 million portfolio for our car. And the reason for that is that it takes a lot to get back to where somebody is at if there's a 10% loss from a portfolio. So imagine you have $1 million and you use $100,000. You are now left with with $900,000, right? Well, what does it take to get back to that $1 million number? Does it take that additional 10% growth? No, because you are basing that growth on 900,000. So 10% of that is 990,000. So if you're trying to get back to that $1 million number, you're going to need a more close to 11 or 12% growth in that to get back to that number. And it gets worse and worse the more you take away. So keep that in mind, especially if you are using your portfolio and taking money out of your portfolio to pay for this, because as we know, the markets are not guaranteed to go up. They have their fluctuation. So if you take that out and then have additional market loss from a bad year, that can take away from your portfolio more than you're really wanting to. So what might you do instead of that? Well, of course, you have the interest that you pay if you're paying your mortgage. So, and that's going to potentially come to your cash flow. And if you have enough assets to meet the purchase of the car, but don't want to affect your cash flow, well, there are different investments that generate income, such as preferred shares. Many of those earn around 6% at this point in time in May of 2024. But of course, that's always subject to change too. If you were paying for your loan using preferred shares, generating 6%, for the base car, you'd want to have $735,000 or so to generate that 6% net of taxes. And if you're, trying to buy this spec, you might want $1 million in preferred shares generating 6%. Or if you're in bonds, you may want $1 million or $1.1 million for the base car, or $1.5 million for our spec here, because those are on average earning around 4%. Of course, this is all variable, but to give you an idea, those are some good dollars to have right around this area. And of course, life insurance is another place that generates income through their dividends. And if you're earning dividends around 5%, you might want $800,000 or $1.2 million in life insurance cash value to use those dividends to pay for the payment on the car. But again, you're taking away from your investments, so why would you want to do that? Well, if you had $370,000 is what our car added up to after our Tennessee state taxes. If you let that grow in your investments and it earns 7% over 7 years, that total would be around $225,000. So if you had financed that car at the same time, that difference, if we see that the yellow line being the interest that you pay, which is around $100,000, that difference is a positive $125,000 in your favor because of the compounding of the investment. Whereas, when you pay that cash, you give up that opportunity to grow more on your money. So if you can do that, that may be the better move for you. On the flip side, if you have a bad interest rate, high one, where it's like 15%, that could add to your total cost because your investment growth is not going to be able to keep up with the interest that you're paying for a very long time. So you may not, at that point in time, want to finance the car. It may make more sense to pay out of cash. But really, your portfolio should still look like, ideally, if you're going to pay that cash, your portfolio should still look like 10 times the amount of the money that you are paying toward the car. So, we are still saying everything else is still obviously going to be growing and making up for that additional loss. But at the end of the day, if you were saying, I have $370,000 and should I finance this or should I pay in cash? If you can earn the same amount on your investment than you can paying your interest, it may make a lot more sense to pay interest in addition to the car itself, so that way you can allow your money to grow and compound for you. All right, guys, now we spec'd out our DB12 here at Carlock Motors in Nashville. If you are looking at this car specifically, you like it, it is actually available for sale. So definitely contact them. I've got them linked below as well. And if you're trying to spec your car, definitely contact them as well. In addition, if you're trying to figure out how you can afford your dream car for your own personal situation and are wanting to figure out, how to maybe afford that either now or in the future, contact me. I've got my link below as well. I'd love to help you build your wealth, help you spec out the best car for you and make sure that you're in the best financial place you can be as well. So with that in mind, I'm going to take this for a drive, but if you like this video, please subscribe, please like the video, share it. Would love to bring more content to you and build on it. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.